Well, let me talk a little bit about the Mayor's Economic Council and how we're going to get this underway. I've asked a couple of people that helped me during the campaign that are very familiar with the business. Mr. Tim Cavanaugh, who was the former president of the Chamber of Commerce and the Small Business Center, as well as Todd Gillick, who has worked extensively in the finance sector, but more importantly with the not-for-profit sector, the Boys and Girls Club, and so on, to sort of quarterback and coordinate what this council is going to be, who's going to be represented on it, and what, in fact, they will do. And so over the next coming days, we will be inviting those people who have offered to be there or that we've asked to participate. And I think that the total roster is going to be something in the neighborhood of about 85 to anywhere from 85 to 100 people who have indicated representing all 6 or 7 of the sectors that we believe are important to London. These are the sectors that presently are there and providing employment, providing leadership, are very significant to our community, and we're going to sort of essentially come together at the first meeting along with council members and some of the staff and some of the corporations that are already dealing in economic development, as I said, Tech Alliance, LEDC, World Discoveries, and a whole host of groups, and we will set an agenda that says, give us how it is that we can grow our city. Tell us what we can do a lot better at City Hall. Tell us what it is that we need to do. How can we invest? Where do we need to invest? How, in fact, can we help you grow your jobs, grow your businesses? How can we leverage federal and provincial resources if we need to? How can we engage more private sector investment in terms of our economic development strategy? And hopefully this Economic Council will come together for the first meeting. We'll talk a little bit about the macro issues and the challenges facing London, and then essentially break out in 6 or 7 different groups, all headed by 2 co-chairs that will head, say, for instance, the social enterprise part, or it'll be the medical field, or whether or not it's the academic field, whether or not it's the manufacturing sector, whether or not it's the small business sector, whether or not it's the other sectors that we have identified as being crucial to London's economic well-being. And they will then break out into their own meetings, and hopefully by the end of March, essentially present a total economic action plan, which I will receive, but then I will ask Council to look at, obviously the administration, to see whether or not it fits within our whole economic development plan, resources, how in fact we can, again, engage all of those sectors to help us drive, not only to create those 10,000 jobs that I believe are achievable in the next 4 or 5 years, but how essentially can we make London's economic prosperity a priority, which I'm sure it is, but how is it that we can help those sectors and those businesses, small, medium, and large, be able to be the best that they possibly can be, and how can we help them grow? So the Economic Council essentially will have that essential purpose, and we hope to have it set up and in place by, what, the first week in
January 5th for the first meeting.
January 5th will be the first meeting of those who have been invited to participate. Time and place will be known, or made known, at which point we will have this first meeting and then organize ourselves, as I've said, in the various sectors. And so I think we're practically all there. We would still invite, if there are those people in the community that believe that they can also contribute, we'll obviously look at their participation. Again,
there'll be pages on your web.
Yeah, there'll be pages on my website, in the City of London website, the mayor's page there, where there will be some additional information, and we'll be able to connect. And so, as I said, hopefully the council, once it gives us its recommendations, the council and others will want to view, then we will get on with implementing the action plan. And then on an annual basis, maybe the Economic Council then could convene again, look at how we're performing, what it is that we need to do to tweak the plan and on a going forward basis. With that announcement, I'll take some questions from the media with regards to the Mayor's Economic Council. I've had discussions with the chair of the LEDC as well as Mr. Peter White. As I've said, they've started a foundation. They are doing in part what for the city our economic development functions. Their job is obviously to retain and to grow and also to attract. And that group of people with the resources that are provided to them by the city as well as the private sector go out and promote and market London. And I've had the opportunity of already not only meeting with their board, they're excited about the Economic Council and wanting to participate, but I've had an opportunity of also engaging with what LEDC is already doing as we try and attract some, I believe, some major corporations in the City of London, including some green energy jobs from some other opportunities. And of course, the LEDC, in conjunction with a number of different organizations, including University, Fanshawe, Tech Alliance, World Discoveries, all of the people who are engaged in terms of economic development, while they're our lead agency and we support them, obviously it's a lot bigger job than that. I've always said that. And I think that they welcome the opportunity that the Economic Council is really going to look at London from about 50,000 feet. And as we drill down, there's a whole host of organizations, including the city, including the university, which has which, as you know, their president wants to grow that university big time. There's Fanshawe that also wants to grow and has some proposals put forward. There are corporations that are looking at expanding. There's ways of looking at every sector, from the healthcare to advanced manufacturing to the agri-food sector, of how we're going to grow the city. So the council will be really at 50,000 feet, and as they develop the overall overarching strategy and action plan, then obviously we're going to invite the private sector, LEDC, and a host of agencies, including the not-for-profit sector, the social enterprise sector, which helps us deliver a whole bunch of things, services, including their job creation. So that's how we're going to all work together. I don't believe in silos. I believe in working horizontally with everyone and anyone that can help us grow our economy. And so the Economic Council will set sort of a direction, a gathering, if you will, in much the same way as the Economic Summit did about a year and a half ago. A pathway, a roadmap to how we're going to grow our economy. Let me just give you an example. I think City Council already took a great lead. When we looked at the strategic plan, which was our first committee of the whole meeting about 2 weeks ago, we talked a little bit about where we needed to go as a city. And we talked about budget, obviously, and zero tax as being an option or a goal and an objective. We also talked about our growth target. And we said that 2.5% was doable, and that's the number that we inserted into our strategic plan. So once you've identified a target and objective, how is it that you're going to get there? There's a lot of things that we started to talk about last night about how we were going to use the $68 million, which has been earmarked by council, the previous council, and this council, as to how we're going to move forward and use that $68 million envelope of how we're going to help the university, Fanshawe, LEDC, with a number of initiatives. But I think we need to look broader and over and above that to see what the people who actually work at this each and every day, the CEOs of the major corporations, the major institutions, all of these people to come together as an economic council and to essentially help and assist in setting the direction for the City of London. And therefore, let's let them do their work. I think they welcome the opportunity of meeting, talking about those issues, whether or not they be municipal issues, federal, provincial, but more importantly, we don't want this to be another gap fest. We don't want this to have another report that's just going to sit someplace. But these are the people that are actually make it possible to employ a lot of people in our city each and every day. They're the ones who can tell us best how it is that we need to move forward. And that's why I think citizen engagement, business engagement, not-for-profit, we're also going to have labor represented at the table, because I believe that that's how you plan a modern economy, a dynamic economy, is by people working together, coming together and putting forward an action plan that obviously then will, I believe, will need the assistance, direction, support of City Council, as an example. Some people have already done so because they've heard that we were setting up the Economic Council. I'm sure that Tim and Todd, as an example, or myself, would look at who might be able to sit. Let's face it, I can't have 349,000 people on this council, but we're going to also make it possible that people have suggestions about how we can grow our economy, how people can put forward ideas, that I'm sure that the council may want to look at how we can receive that kind of information, because yeah, we want to engage as many people as possible. And just because it starts with 85 doesn't mean that, as you know, that group can then go down to the local BIAs, as an example. I met with one today, Old East, that has suggested that they have some ideas about how they can grow the economy in the Old East London BIA. And so we're going to be looking for opportunities and ideas from all over the place. So we'll see how the Economic Council